what were some of the Giants' biggest weaknesses of 2022, and can they improve and turn them into strengths this season? Before we do get into that, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and leave a like, comment down below, and more importantly, hit the subscribe button and join the freaking channel. Though the Giants are on break, we are not on break over here, and we will still be dropping a lot of Giants content, so you're going to want to be around for that. So go ahead, stick around, and hit that subscribe button. But let's point out one of the biggest weaknesses from the New York Giants that doesn't come up based off a position group like the offensive line or the wide receivers. We need to talk about the Giants being a first half and second half team. The Giants last year were a team where a lot of the games, they came out just flat. The offense having 3 and outs, the defense giving up touchdowns, and just the way they played in the second half and the first half was polar opposites. New York Giants were the 27th best team in points in the first half, the second lowest out of teams that made the playoffs last year behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But if you look at the second half, they were the 8th best team with around 12 points scored in the second half. So this year, it's going to be games where Daniel Jones is going to have that fourth quarter comeback. We're going to have that game-winning drive that he had, a lot of last year. There's going to be games where you're going to need to have that happen. But we cannot bank on that this year. There are a lot of tough teams that we have to play this season. It's going to be games where, you're going to come out flat, and you're going to need to have that second half resurgence. But we cannot have that every other game. There were a lot of games where the Giants just did not look good in the first half, but were able to just stick around in the second and then close out and win the game. This year, tough teams. You got teams like Philly and Dallas in your division. Philly was actually the first team with first half points, number 1 in the league. Dallas, not too far from them. You're going to have, a solid first half to stick in these games. So that was a huge weakness last year. And this season, I want to see the Giants have, a decent first half. I don't want to see us being down 18 points going into halftime and then having to rely on a good second half, a great second half adjustment to win games. The Giants need to clean it up this year. Let's see if they can turn that first half, second half, polar opposite thing into a full balanced half of games for the New York Giants. The next thing we're going to get into is, of course, the offensive line. I don't know how long it's been since the Giants had a great offensive line. You go back to the Super Bowl days with Eli Manning, David Diaz, Sean O'Hara, all those guys. I know. The Giants offensive line, man, we need them to just at least be average this year. Can you be average? Evan Neal, we cannot have you getting your ass beat every play. We can't have it this year. John Michael Schmitz, in my opinion, was the best center in the draft class. Dub pick. I love it. Y'all know that. For sure. John Michael Schmitz, baby Brock Lesnar, that's my guy. But it really stands on Evan Neal. Can Evan Neal play up to the 7th overall selection that he was taken with back in 2022? That's the huge question. He is the X factor, in my opinion, on the Giants offense. Imagine if we have Evan Neal playing above average with Andrew Thomas controlling the left tackle spot, booking tackles. That's probably the best tackle doing all of NFL. Then you can really be that passing team that you want to be. We know Brian Dable, Mike Kafka. We saw late in the season last year, they said, hey, forget the running. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to air the ball out. How do you think we beat the Vikings? We didn't beat them by just running it down their throats. The Giants pushed the ball downfield, attacked them downfield, and were able to have an explosive offense in that playoff game back in the wild card versus Minnesota. So if you have an offensive line that can't really hold up and you can't, keep Daniel Jones clean, you can't give him time for plays to develop downfield, you're not going to be able to be a balanced team. The Giants can run the ball. We know that. The question is, can they be a team that can pass the ball? Can they be a team that can be efficient when passing the ball? It starts with the offensive line. You got to have an offensive line that can hold up to be able to launch the ball downfield like we know the Giants want to. They want to unleash Daniel Jones, but it really falls on the offensive line. Can they block for Daniel Jones for that to happen? Now let's go over to the defense. Now Daniel Jones had one of the lowest interception percentages in all of the league last year. Number 1 with 1.1%. Great. He didn't throw picks last year. But the defense also didn't get a lot of picks last year. I don't know what the Giants were in rankings, rather, for interceptions, but we know it was one of the lowest. I don't even think they reached double-digit interceptions. Well, one way you can get interceptions, one way you can force quarterbacks into getting, or making bad mistakes, making bad throws, forcing bad passes, is about getting pressure. And when we're looking at Kayvon, looking at Azeez, looking at Dexter Lawrence, we know the gist. We have a great defensive line. They got to go out there and prove it. Dexter Lawrence is a stud. Leonard Williams, what do you have for us? What can you show us when you're on the field, when you're healthy? If the defensive line can generate enough pressure, that is going to force quarterbacks to make bad throws. And that is when Adoree Jackson, that is when Xavier McKinney, that is when Deonte Banks can make plays on footballs and create interceptions. A lot of games last year, the Giants they weren't getting pressure on the quarterback. The quarterback was having a field day sitting back there waiting for one of those guys to get open on one of the Walmart cart pushers we had at cornerback last year. We can't have that this year. The Giants defense got to generate pressure. And when you can generate pressure, we know you can make big plays. You can make interceptions. There are going to be games where you're just going to need the defense to come up with a big play. You're going to need the defense to come up with a big play in the fourth quarter to end the game or to help the Giants get into a game. And one way you can do that is about getting those interceptions, getting those plays that shifts the momentum, getting those plays that just makes you want to go out there and score after one of those big INT plays. I love to see it. And though Adoree Jackson doesn't have high interception numbers, Deonte Banks, I think, had 2-3 interceptions out of his whole collegiate career. When you're able to have that pressure, that is when the cornerbacks are supposed to bank on that, no pun intended, and make those big plays. So interceptions defensive-wise, we need to get those this year. We need to get those. The pressure's going to be there. We know Wink Martindale's going to send the heat more than not. We understand that. Let's get back there. Let's make these quarterbacks make bad decisions, and let's capitalize on that by getting interceptions. But that was just three huge weaknesses of the Giants last year. We went in and talked about, can they become strengths of the New York Giants? Polar opposite first and half team with the New York Giants last year. Can they become a full balanced team in the first and second half of games? We talked about the offensive line. Just in general, can the offensive line hold up so the Giants can unleash Daniel Jones, be aggressive, and become a balanced team running and throwing the football? And we also talked about the defense generating pressure, which will help them end up having some interceptions, some big plays for the Giants defense. Let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts on everything. Leave down below also in the comment section one weakness of the Giants last year that we did not talk about in the video today. Let's talk about it. Let's see if that can become a strength also for the Giants this season. But if you did enjoy, leave a like, comment, definitely hit that subscribe button on the channel. But until next time, it has been your boy Jay Dimes, and we are out. Go Giants. Peace.